Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another look at how we can use the new apps of the 21st century classroom to help us as we teach remotely from a distance. Today, we're going to take a look at how we can use a fantastic app called EdPuzzle. It's an app that we've explored on this channel before in other videos, but one way that you perhaps haven't gotten a chance yet is to take a video directly from YouTube and bring it in to EdPuzzle. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. If you don't have EdPuzzle yet, the first thing you're obviously going to want to do is to head over to edpuzzle.com, or if your district is using some kind of learning management system, then chances are you probably have a link directly in there. Our district, for instance, uses ClassLink, and you can just simply click on the EdPuzzle icon in ClassLink to get yourself all situated right there. Once you do, you're going to want to set up your classes, however many classes you plan on using EdPuzzle for. You might as well just set them up for every class. And if you are linked up to Google Classroom, as you can see these are, then EdPuzzle is fully integrated, which makes it nice and easy to have your assignments be scored, to have your assignments be pushed out to your students right away. It's just all around a pretty good system. So that's the first thing that you're going to want to do. The next thing is for you to make sure that you have a Chrome extension enabled for EdPuzzle. Now, this extension doesn't work like other extensions you may have used in the past. So we'll take a look at that in just a sec. So why don't we just grab it in case you don't have it. It's this little guy right here. It looks like a tiny little yellow puzzle piece. So if you don't have it, just head on over to the Chrome store, open up a web browser, type in Chrome store, and you're going to hit the Chrome Web Store. And you're going to search your extensions. And what you want to do is have the one for EdPuzzle. If you click on it, and you can add it to Chrome. Now here's a tutorial video for you if you want to watch that one to help get you started, but I'm about to walk you through it all as well. So it's up to you. Whichever one you want to watch is all good and fine by me. And then you close that out. If you don't see the puzzle here, then just means that you need to click on this little puzzle, this other one, which gives you a list of your extensions. And then you can make sure that you pin EdPuzzle to the taskbar up there at the top, and then you're all set to go. Now that you have the EdPuzzle Chrome extension installed and you've got your account ready to go and your classes set up, it's time to start generating some content. Before you make anything yourself, it's always a good idea to see if what you're looking for is already out there. And that's where this sidebar on the EdPuzzle site really comes into play. You can click on the Home tab and see currently trending lessons created by colleagues from around the world. You can see the official EdPuzzle curriculum for elementary, middle school, and high school. And there is, content in all the various subject areas underneath that. So search those. If you have an upgraded account, you can actually see what all of your colleagues in your district are making, which is fun. They tell you about some lesson that you're doing and you're really excited about it and you've gotten permission to, borrow their work, then great. Go ahead and snag something from one of your colleagues. And of course, you can see your own. If you don't find what you're looking for there, check out some of these popular channels. Great lessons available from the Khan Academy and National Geographic and the TED Talks, and of course Crash Course, which is one of my favorites, from the NPR. You can see some really wonderful, well animated, definitely geared for kids of all ages. It's a fantastic resource for you. But even then, sometimes you're going to run into a particular topic that you would like your students to interact with that isn't already available. And you can either, of course, make the video yourself if you want to go through that trouble, or you can find the video that you're looking for on YouTube and just simply generate the EdPuzzle yourself. And that's what we're going to try and do today. So obviously, the first thing you're going to want to do is to locate the perfect YouTube lesson. In this case, I'm going to try and create something for my theater class. We're in the middle of a costume design unit, and part of that, of course, is we have to learn how to sew. We have to learn how to thread a needle and secure a knot and do the basic stitches and sew on buttons, all that good stuff that is important for everybody to learn for the rest of their lives. And I have found this great video from the Nutty Crafter crafting channel, and it's just a fantastic resource for me. And I don't want to have to make this video over from scratch. Why would I want to waste all that time when there's such a great video already out there? If you look down here at the bottom, you'll see there's this little box that says Edit with EdPuzzle. Now, this only becomes available because we went through the trouble of adding this Chrome extension before. If you don't have this, then you won't see this box down here. But once you do, all you have to do is click on it. It's going to fire up your EdPuzzle account if you had one. And now you are ready to go in the EdPuzzle interface. It's just that simple. All right, so now we're in the EdPuzzle interface where we get to ask our questions and set up our video for our students to be able to access, but also for us to be able to hold them accountable to the information and also make it a little easier on ourselves in terms of grading. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a sec. Let's take a quick tour of the interface just so that we can see what's going on. Here in the middle, you have the clip itself that you have uploaded from YouTube or that you've linked from YouTube. Down here at the bottom, you have a timeline. This is the beginning of the clip and this is the end of the clip. If you left click and drag on this little pointer, okay, then you can scrub to any point inside the video. Down here, you can see this is the total running time, 7 minutes and 42 seconds. This will change if you add cuts. You can add cuts to any point in the video. If you say, for instance, there's a part here in the middle that you just don't want, it's not relevant to your students, or you don't want to waste their time with it or have them look at it, just add in those cuts. And that simply happens here through that button right there. This button will tell you what exact time you are at in terms of the video, and this is simply a play button so that you can experience what the video is like from your student's perspective. How EdPuzzle works is basically it will play the video until it hits a stopping point. Typically, those will be your questions. And the video will then pause, the question will come up, and students can't proceed in the video until they have answered the questions, whichever one you have set up with. Now, voiceover is going to be disabled for a clip that you're just grabbing from YouTube, unless it's one of your own clips, right? If it's a clip that you have made, then you can add voiceover to it, but otherwise this is going to be disabled for legal reasons. So what we're mainly interested in is questions. You also have a little drawing tool up here if there is something specifically that you wanted to draw on the clip, but I'm going to skip that feature for right now. What I want to do is scrub to a point where I want to ask my first question. All right, so we can see that at this point right here, some information has been provided to students in terms of the number of tying off stitches. So maybe you want to, after the information is there, let's see if they were paying attention. So you move forward just a little bit till that information is off the screen. And let's have that be the place where we put in our first question. Okay, so you just hit questions. Now you have three choices of things that you can put in. You can put a note to the student where you're basically offering some information or a little audio note or something else for making things clearer for your students. That's what this is. An open-ended question is going to be a question where students have to offer some kind of short answer response. Now, these aren't graded at all because there's no need to grade a note. These you're going to have to grade yourself. These, however, the EdPuzzle app can actually grade for you. So this makes the grading part really convenient if you enable that particular choice. It's harder to assess what students actually know, obviously, with a multiple choice question, but easier to grade. So that's the trade-off. So I'm going to put one of those in right now. So you type your question up here at the top. How many tying off knots is recommended? Okay. So you can put in as many possibilities as you want. I'll say I'll put in 3. And I'll say 1, 2 to 3, and at least 4. Something where they would definitely have had to have gotten the information from the video itself, but it's not something that is too taxing in terms of that. It's the point is this feature is not really as a gotcha necessarily. It's more just to remind students to be paying attention, to be taking notes actively, and to be trying to absorb as much of this information as possible. Now, the correct answer, of course, is this one. So we want to identify this as an incorrect one and this as the correct one. And then you can save it. Okay. So what you have now is, like you see, you have a new little marker here in EdPuzzle, and that will indicate that at that particular point at 2:06 in the video, students will be watching, and then all of a sudden, boom, the question pops up and they have to respond to that. Okay, so for the sake of brevity, I have added in all my notes and questions already, so you didn't have to watch me brainstorm possible answers to a bunch of multiple choice questions. I think that would be a waste of your time. So over here in the sidebar, you can see that I've added 2 audio notes right here at the beginning. You see your questions in order here. And then if I wanted to, I can jump to a particular spot. There's another note. There's a multiple choice question. Remember to always indicate which one is the correct answer. And then you can kind of move your way through the whole process. I've asked all my questions. I put one last note at the end. I want to talk briefly about this final note. Is just really a reminder for my students to watch the video all the way out to the very end. Sometimes what will happen is they think they've answered all these questions and then they just stop, and then EdPuzzle will register a score, but Google Classroom won't register it as being turned in. They have to watch it all the way to the end and then properly submit their lesson. So just put in a quick reminder. I found that helps students just to remember it. Okay, and you can have whatever policy you like. For me, I have no problem if my students want to go back, take it again, watch the video again. In fact, for this one, I would probably suggest that they watch it a number of times because they're eventually going to have to try it out for themselves and demonstrate on a piece of fabric that they can do all of these stitches. So yeah, watch it as much as they need to. Why not? It's not high stakes testing here. There's no reason for that. The purpose is for them to be able to learn. So I would say let them watch it, let them retake it till they can get it perfect. There's no harm in that. We don't gain anything by having them just get one shot. Anyway, enough. I'm on a soapbox here. You do what you feel is right for your classroom, but I think EdPuzzle really is set up for students to be able to just keep trying again until they master it. So there it is. So you have all your questions, you have your video, you're all done, you've recorded everything. So what do you do now? That's when you hit the finish button right here, and you can see you've got your multiple choice questions. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total. And that's where you come down here to the bottom where you can assign it, you can edit it, you can duplicate it, you can delete it if you didn't like it. You can identify whether you want this to be public or private, in which case I'm going to make it public, just so, you know, if my colleagues somewhere want to use my questions for this video, why not? I don't have any problem with that. So, but the main thing that I want to do is, of course, is to assign it. So I'm going to assign it to a particular class. And this is a part where I'm not going to run through this right now because I'm not quite sure this EdPuzzle is 100% ready, and I also don't want to scare my students. But basically what you do is you just identify the class, and then you hit assign, and then you will get you'll have options, as you can see right here, for when the thing is due. You can turn on prevent skipping, which prevents students, that basically forces them to, you know, to actually watch the video in order. You can turn on closed captions so that they can actually see the closed captions at the bottom or not. And you can turn on whether or not it's going to post on Google Classroom. So like I said, I'm not going to do that right now, but that's all you have to do. And once you have it assigned with a due date, once that due date hits, then EdPuzzle will score all of your submissions and send you the scores right to Google Classroom. So it couldn't be any easier. All right, well, I hope that was useful to you. I want to wish you luck taking YouTube videos and converting them to an EdPuzzle. It's not as scary as it might seem at first, and I think you'll find it a huge time saver. So good luck with your EdPuzzles, and I'll see you next time.